Hi, welcome to the channel. My name is Kubeir, and today is a great Saturday morning. And of course, it's also a beautiful day of Christmas. So, Merry Christmas to everyone who is celebrating. This is the season of joy. This is the season of hope. This is the season of all the positive spirit that you can sum up. And so, we are all in a joyous mood, all in this festive mood. But we are here again, as usual, just like what we do for every Saturday morning, uh, rounding up the Canadian immigration things that have happened, things that we know may anticipate or we anticipate may happen, and to discuss what all is going on. So, as usual, we will do this short presentation. We will go through different provinces, the draws, the express entry, and anything that has happened, and then we will come to the question and answer. So please hold back your questions till we get to that stage so that I don't miss out any of those. All right, let's get going. We'll start as usual with the quote of the week. Incredible things can be done. I mean, obviously, incredible things can be done if we are committed to making them happen. I mean, if only we are committed to making them happen, you will definitely make some incredible things happen, said the very wise Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev. And today, being the 25th of December, it's the day of Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everyone who's celebrating. This is our Canadian weekly roundup, Canadian Immigration Weekly Roundup. This is where we will sort of discuss everything that has to do with the Canadian immigration, things that have happened, things that we anticipate. Topics of discussion today would be the latest PNPs, I mean, in the sense of the draws that have happened, the Quebec draws, the express entry draws, of course, other news as and whatever that might have happened. Starting with the provincial nominee programs, the first one off the bat is the Manitoba. So with the Manitoba, we had 349 candidates who were invited in the latest PNP draw, which happened on the 18th of December. Let me get rid of this one here. Okay, yeah. And they held this draw on the 16th of December, my apologies. And skilled workers in Manitoba, 296 invitations, minimum score of 447, which is pretty good. And then the skilled worker overseas, only 13 invitations and a minimum score of 712, which is quite high. But then there was obviously also the international education stream, which is 40 invitations, and there is no score required. So people who are still contemplating about studying in Canada and considering a PNP, well, Manitoba also is a good option. They have this international education stream. You get a job offer, you complete a minimum period of work experience in Manitoba, and you will be able to submit your application there. Again, the usual suspect that is always there on our roundup. The British Columbia PNP, BC PNP, 243 candidates were invited in the most recent draw. This was on the 21st of December. 194 of the invitations were sent through a general draw, where the minimum score requirements were between 74 and 106, depending on the program, and 49 invitations targeted only NOC 0621 and NOC 0631, with a minimum score requirement of 106. Again, pretty interesting there because, as we mentioned before, 621 and 631s were not included earlier, and now they're just making up to make sure that these are, have proper representation within the draws. Quebec draws, 326 candidates were invited to apply in the latest ARIMA draw. The ministry released the details on the 9th of December. Invited candidates needed to have profiles in the ARIMA pool, of course, and with a score of at least 633 points, which, to be very honest, is quite high. And the targeted candidates needed to have a job offer outside the Montreal metro area, and there were 29 occupations that they did choose. Just like a lot of other PNP programs, Quebec also with the ARIMA draws are going towards specific occupational kind of selections. So that's what happened with Quebec as well. And then we also had the express entry draw. Well, at least I was really hopeful that we would have at least an all program draw, because we were just about on the edge of the annual the anniversary for the all program draw, but it was not to be. And IRCC continued with the torture by inviting 746 candidates with only a PNP program specific draw. And they had, 720 was the cutoff for this score. For this draw, 720 was the cutoff. And it has now been officially been a year since all program draw was conducted. A little bit about the PNP draws. A lot of people always are confused as to how can somebody have, this kind of, what was this? 746 candidates were invited for 720. So how can somebody have a score of only 720, which basically means if you remove the 600 points from the PNP draw, that they or PNP nomination, that score would be only 120. Well, people often also forget that there was a big mega express entry draw, which was CEC specific only, and the score was 75, only 75. So it's absolutely possible for people to have a very low score, but if they can get a nomination because they get a job offer from an employer, or they have completed a specific criteria under the work experience criteria from that specific province, and they are able to apply for the nomination through that province. That's absolutely possible. That happens all the time. And therefore, it's absolutely possible that people can have very low score and yet get a nomination and therefore get through the PNP draw. So that's one thing. And another thing is when people keep wondering as to which province, well, this basically PNP program draws or PNP specific program draws in express entry are for those people who have a valid express entry profile, but they have also received a nomination from the province, thereby giving them 600 points, which then makes them eligible for these specific draws. So that's the bit about the PNP draws, where a lot of people have these questions. Okay, in the other news, what do we have in the other news? Ontario aims to recruit 100 immigrant entrepreneurs. Interested business owners and developers can apply through the existing entrepreneur stream of the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. Each entrepreneur who's selected will be required to invest a minimum of $200,000 into the business. Now, just a little bit more clarity on that. This was announced a couple of weeks back. The Labour Minister of Ontario came out and made this announcement that they were looking to bring in 100, or rather they were looking to identify 100 candidates who would be nominated if they were willing to invest in a new business or were willing to purchase an existing business with a value of $200,000 at least. And this should be outside the Toronto GTA area. Now, there is already an existing Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. Under the Immigrant Nominee Program, Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, they already have the entrepreneur stream, where if you invest $200,000 outside the GTA, which is Greater Toronto area, you could be eligible for nomination, but it's a very lengthy process. So what happens is, first you create your expression of interest. If your scores are high enough, because again, you're given points for age, education, work experience, what kind of business, how much money, which area, how many employees you will intend to bring on. Based on all this, you get points. And once your profile gets picked up under those points selection criteria, then you will get an expression, you will get an invitation to apply. That's when you submit all your documentation, including your business plan. And along with that, if everything is approved, you get an endorsement from the province, thereby allowing you to apply for a work permit. Once you get a work permit, you can come to Canada. You will then go ahead and invest in the business that you said. You will invest the amount of money that you said that you would invest. You would create the jobs that you said you would create, or basically do everything that you said in your business plan. And once the province is happy, they will conduct a brief audit kind of a thing. And once they're happy that you did do as you said in your business plan, they would then give you the nomination. Taking that nomination, you would then be able to apply for your permanent residence. Now, this, all that I've told you, would take on a very average processing anywhere between 4 to 6 years. Okay, so when the announcement for this Ontario business investment program was made, there is that expectation that this could have some changes. This could probably have some new criteria which was not indicated earlier, because in the existing program there is also the criteria of having or maintaining a net worth, and that net worth has to be in the range of $400,000 to $800,000, depending on which area you will create your business or you will buy a business. So these requirements still need to be clarified. They still need to sort of come out and say very clearly, what is this, the same program? Is it a different program? Are they enhancing the program? Are they adding something to this program? So a lot of people out there have been quite interested. We've been getting a lot of queries about this particular program because $200,000. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people out there who would be very, very keen to put that money into a business and then get their permanent residence if they could. But yeah, at this point of time, still a lot of questions. I hope we get those answered at the earliest. And then we have Saskatchewan. They have launched a new international healthcare worker expression of interest pool. The new international health worker expression of interest submission process is not an application to the Saskatchewan SINP, but rather a pre-application form that allows candidates to submit an online form indicating they are interested in working in a selected healthcare occupation in Saskatchewan. We'll talk more about this in just a bit. And this basically was the end of our presentation. But you know what? Let's get back to this very interesting Saskatchewan thing, because you know there are healthcare workers who are really very interested in this one. So yeah, let's get to talk about this more. So what do I have here? Let me see if I can make this a bit bigger here. So in the Saskatchewan, rather what Saskatchewan has done is they have created this new international healthcare worker expression of interest pool. What are they planning to do here? So they have identified certain occupations, and they have asked people to come onto their portal, expression of interest, and create an expression of interest. So if you are one of these workers, I will show you the NOC codes in a bit. If you're one of these healthcare workers, they're asking you to come and create your expression of interest. Saskatchewan, if they find you eligible, if they find your profile of interest and they could probably match them with some employers, then they would basically send you a notification of interest. You will then be eligible to apply under the Saskatchewan Employer Job Offer Program or under the Saskatchewan Hard to Find Skills Program. That is something which they would come back and tell you about that. But the idea is that if you're a healthcare worker, then this is a great program for you. The eligibility criteria is quite simple and straightforward. Let's look at it a bit. So there you go. It's a very simple, brief overview. If you are interested in working in Saskatchewan in the health sector and would like to be contacted about job opportunities, then please create an expression of interest. Okay. This basically link will take you to the expression of interest. Don't worry about this link of this particular website. It is in the description box. You can always find it over there. Okay. Now, again, they clarify that this is not an application to SINP. So just by creating this expression of interest, it does not mean that you will be applying directly to the Saskatchewan immigration program. It's just a pre-application. So this expression of interest does not take you to the immigration program yet. It's a pre-application form which allows you to fill an online form to indicate your interest in working in Saskatchewan in selected health sector occupations. Okay. And those who will have the skills, if you are selected and receive an employment offer, so basically they will match your skills to the prospective employers. You may be eligible to apply for Saskatchewan's International Skilled Worker Employment Job Offer Stream or Hard to Fill Skills Pilot. Obviously, it's quite obvious not all candidates who will submit an EOI will receive a job opportunity notification. There are no limits to the number of workers who can submit an EOI. However, candidates can only have one EOI profile. So that is basically what they're looking for. I mean, this is their way of attracting international healthcare workers, obviously by providing them with an opportunity to link them with the prospective employers. So if you get to the website, it will tell you how you can create an EOI profile. It's pretty simple. The occupations that are eligible are these: 12523012, 3122, 3124, 3131. Pharmacists are included here. 3141, 3142, physical therapists, 3143. Again, the list is a bit long, but as you can see, most of them are healthcare workers, and pretty much lots and lots of occupations have been included, including the licensed practical nurse, pharmacy technicians, dental technologists, okay, which is again another one which has been quite a favorite NOC code for a lot of people out there. Occupational therapists, physical therapists, as I said, nurse practitioners, and registered nurses as well. So this one is a great opportunity. If you are eligible, you should definitely give this one a shot. I mean, what have you got to lose, right? If you're a healthcare worker, get to the Saskatchewan website, create your expression of interest. If you're found eligible, if they can match you with a prospective employer, you will receive a notification of interest. You will receive a job offer, possibly or probably with an interview. From there on, you will be eligible to apply under the Saskatchewan employment job offer stream or the Hard to Fill skill pilot program that they have just recently initiated. It's a win-win situation. So if you're a health worker, get on with it, create your expression of interest there, and hopefully we will get that going. Another interesting thing that we wanted to talk about was this announcement that was which Canada made with this huge joyous announcement that Canada has finally achieved the target of 401,000 landed immigrants in Canada. Yes, the fact is that this happened without any federal skilled worker draws happening is a bit of a, I mean, I don't like that, but it happened. So earlier in the year 2020, what happened was that they had an annual target of 341,000 people. Okay. Now, this 341,000 people, with this pandemic happening, there were a lot of restrictions, lockdowns happened, offices were closed down, and with amongst all these issues and challenges that Ircc and Canada were facing, they achieved a target of only 184,000 people. So out of 341,000, they were able to only land 184,500 people, which was 46% less than the target for 2020, which obviously, under the big scheme of things, under the economic plans and the demographic plans and the political plans and so many other plans that they have, it was a big setback, obviously. And therefore, towards the end of November, December, as they were progressing into the new year 2020, which was almost 1 year back, they decided that they need to take some more aggressive steps in order to ensure that 2021 is not the repeat of what happened with them in 2020. So they made a very conscious and a mindful decision. And there are several internal memos that are being shared all over the internet. And we have shared that over the last video. So I do not want to do a repeat of that again. But this internal memo, which came out, we were able to sort of get a glimpse of it and get more insight as to exactly what was discussed. So there was obviously this plan of starting the TR to PR. The same TR to PR program was also indicated in the mandate letter that was issued on the 15th of January 2021, whereby Prime Minister Justin Trudeau then gave in the mandate letter mentioned that there should be a priority of offering a pathway to the international students and foreign workers in Canada. There was also this effort and attempt to ensure that they will definitely meet the target in the 2021. So everything and all the resources and all the planning went into making sure that they get that done. So they revamped the whole understanding of how the draws would be done. They were aware that they will get negative media and negative feedback through social media. They were aware. They knew that this is how it's going to play out. And it exactly played out the way they anticipated, in terms of if they were going to conduct these big draws, the one that which happened in February on the February 13th, the 27,000 draw, and the one that happened after that. I mean, the 6,000 ITAs that they continued to issue after that, it was always understood, anticipated, and expected that this would have consequences within the whole pool. They were aware. They were aware that they would have to give lower priority to the people who are outside Canada. They were aware. They were aware that the application processing will take a hit, and people would sort of, will have to wait for the processing to happen, because if they were going to achieve this big target of 400,000 people, they had to first do these TR to PRs and these large big CEC draws. And these CEC draws would obviously need quick processing, and that would be the only way they would be able to get these people to land, because they were already inside Canada. Landing them was also very easy. So this virtual landing process was established, and it worked very well. It has been working very well in most cases. So in a combination of all this, they were able to achieve the target. Again, in the same memo, it also mentions very clearly that once these targets have been achieved, and if there are no travel restrictions, if there is nothing happening, they will go back to focusing on the people who are outside Canada. They will go back to finalizing all their applications. It also very clearly said at that point of time that they had only 58,000 applications of federal skilled workers in the system, and no more than 2,000 to 3,000 still remained to be processed to its finalization. I'm not talking about PNPs. I'm talking only about the federal skilled worker outline applications, people who are not inside Canada. So all this was, IRCC knew this. They were already aware, of course, because they have all the data. So the think tank, or the IRCC operations, which is also the brains behind how the whole system works with IRCC, this was the game plan. This was always the plan, that the priority is to land these people in Canada. The priority is to achieve the target. It's very important for the whole, the way the whole plan is in terms of the politics, in terms of the economic, in terms of the demographic. So that's what happened. That's what they went ahead and did. And hurrah, they announced on the 23rd of December, a couple of days back, that they did achieve the 401,000 landed immigrant target. And now that they did achieve, and now that there is no travel restrictions, and now that there are absolutely no lockdowns at this point of time, the only expectation and hope is that all these visa officers that were assigned to handle these CECs and TR to PRs in a quick manner would probably go back to their own, normal routine tasks, and therefore start looking and finalizing the applications of people who have been waiting for a very long time. 2019, 2020, 2021 early, they have all been waiting. And of course, we all know that Canada has also invested, or rather is going to invest $85 million one time only, specifically to clear these backlogs, which are humongous. Clearing backlogs or reducing the application processing times is also the number one priority that has been mentioned on the most recent mandate letter that has been issued to the immigration minister. So in all manner, in all signs, by all signs, all directions are pointing towards the fact that we should see, technically, typically, ideally, logically, a faster processing of applications. We should see all these backlogs that have been created. We should start seeing they being cleared. I'm hoping sooner than later. And the fact that they wanted to clear at least 50% of the economic program inventory before they would go back to resuming the draws. We've also shared those kind of documents with you earlier, that were the internal memos. Well, from the calculations that we have been looking at and the number of people they have been landing, excuse me, it's quite apparent that they definitely by now should have met the processing. When they say inventory processing, they are not talking about always finalizing. Inventory processing is also about completing the R10s and completing the A11.2 checks, the eligibility checks for majority of the applications. Okay, once that is done, then it goes on to the security aspect of the application. And so the inventory processing largely indicates for them to get over the R10 and the A11.2 so that the eligibilities can be cleared. I feel that they are, if they haven't reached the 50% clearing of the inventory, then they should be very, very close to it. If they were clearing 13, 14, 15,000 applications every month, rather they were finalizing 15,000 processing applications, 15,000 applications every month, they should be pretty close to clearing out most of the CEC applications, because CEC draw did not happen after the 14th September. So that is already 3-4 months back now. With all that gap that has happened, they should be very, very close to clearing the entire backlog as far as CEC applications is concerned. TR to PR, they had already announced that it would take them probably towards the end of 2022 to clear all the TR to PR applications. So people, if you are TR to PR application, if you are a TR to PR applicant, please do not worry. It is moving a bit slowly, but it will come around. You will get your AOR. I know you're very, very panicked You don't have to be, because you do have the option of applying for your bridge open work permit as well. So go ahead and do that if your status is expiring. So for Tier 2 PR who have not been receiving their AORs, it is just around the corner. It will come through, so don't worry about it. They had already indicated in their plan that it may take them until the end of 2022 to complete all the Tier 2 PR application, because their projected target was to complete between 35 to 40,000 applications in this year and the balance in next year. And they're pretty close to achieving that target for the Tier 2 PR as well. So in the combination of all these things, the idea is that if they have to clear 50% of their economic backlog, then we should be pretty close to that. And based on that, the expectation and the anticipation of all program draws, or at least the CEC draws, or at least, PNP draws will continue, because it is their agreement with the provinces that they have to conduct these draws. So they cannot not conduct the PNP draws. So that definitely will continue. But it's the FSW and the CEC, or rather the all program draws, that all of us out there want to see being resumed. And it would be my expectations that this should happen pretty quick. Probably, I'm hoping and praying. I will remain forever hopeful, right? That it happens probably starting with January. But does it happen in January? It doesn't happen in January. We have to wait and watch. But yes, the expectation and the anticipation, now that the whole clock is reset, the targets have been reset, the quotas have been reset. So now they can start looking at things all over again with a new perspective. There are no lockdowns, there are no restrictions, there are no travel bans, nothing at this point of time. Yes, the Omicron virus is creating a havoc across the world. Yes, Ontario is turning out COVID numbers. They're breaking records. Quebec is breaking records again in the COVID numbers. So it is a concern. It definitely is a concern. Can the situation change? Yes, of course the situation can change. The situation can change like this. Tomorrow we might have a new travel restriction, or we might have lockdowns, or we might have, it could happen. Already Ontario has new social restrictions in terms of the number of people in a gathering, the number of people in a restaurant, the number of people in public places. Those have already been brought down again. Those are already under restrictions. So the travel restrictions can always come back. However, Justin Trudeau recently mentioned that they're not looking to bring any bans at this point of time. And the reason is because the ban would make sense if they wanted to avoid the virus or the mutant to come into Canada. But it's already here. The variant is already here. So, creating the travel ban is not going to make any difference as such at this point of time. But if the numbers keep going up, I'm sure that something of that sort is definitely possible. Hoping and praying that it doesn't happen, hoping and praying that we should start seeing the end of this. Whenever we start thinking that this is the end of this, we are seeing the end of this COVID situation, then the Delta happened, and now this Omicron is happening, and we have to only hope and pray that next year is much better than this. But all this said and done, at this point of time, with everything indicating towards the all program draw being resumed, the backlogs being cleared, 2020 looks more promising than 2021 for sure. And again, as I said, the hope and the prayers are with the fact that we get back on to the regular way of doing things. Next year obviously has other challenges waiting for us, and that we will discuss when we get to the next year. And amongst that is the changes in the NOC database, expected changes in Express Entry, with regards to them creating more pathways for the international students and workers. All that will bring on new challenges. But always keep in mind, whenever these challenges are being created in terms of it becoming more difficult for people to, immigrate to Canada, if you are outside Canada, if your age is like going up and your scores are reducing, there are always new programs being created as well. For example, New Brunswick comes up with a program they have different programs in terms of recruitment initiatives. Newfoundland and Labrador last year created this new program out of the blues, and they invited so many people. They initially thought they will invite 300 people. They went out and invited about 600 people. Saskatchewan just created this international healthcare workers stream. Ontario created this, has announced this business immigration stream. So different provinces are always looking to take the benefit and advantage of the fact that there are so many people out there who could possibly come and benefit their province. And they definitely are aware. They're also keeping an eye on what's happening with at the federal level. Well, Ontario, continued the whole year with the fact of, creating the upper limit at 467 on all the human capital priorities draw, right? So people who were at the score of 467 below, who otherwise would have no opportunity with given the way the express entry was moving, well, they got this opportunity. So things happen because things happen for a reason. So don't lose hope just about yet. You never know, the best is about to come. All right, so this was my weekly roundup and a bit of tippany and analysis of what's happening, because all this is based on a lot of questions that people keep posting on the comment sections within the Facebook group as well as on our YouTube. So that was that. If you're still here, and there are 172 of you at this point of time, I would like to see you smash the like button. I would like to see the like button going up, the thumbs up going up. Why? Because it helps this video go out to more people so that they can also get some sort of information that you've got today. Probably they did not know, probably they knew, but it always helps. So get that done. And at the same time, also, of course, subscribe to the channel, man. I want to see those numbers going up. It's motivational. I mean, I need some motivation as well, right? I mean, can you imagine Santa Claus? And that's did you know kind of a thing. So let's talk about it. Santa Claus. Did you know Santa Claus is a Canadian citizen? He was conferred as a Canadian citizen in the year of 2008, and in 2013 he was issued with his electronic passport. So there you go. Canada does have a Canadian address as well, and his postal code, if at all you are ever interested in writing to North Pole to Santa Claus, his postal code is HOHOHO. Ho, ho, ho. So there you go. That is a small did you know kind of a bit, which is very interesting. I find these things very fascinating. So Santa is a Canadian. And if you have people like Santa who are Canadians, you can imagine how nice people in Canada are, aren't they? Well, that's the end of this. Let's get on with some questions and see what people are saying. Okay, first one, Rajkumar. I am a PNP Outland applicant, AOR November 21. Passport is expiring. If I do not get PPR till October 22, will this create a problem? Absolutely not. Just go ahead and renew your passport, extend your passport whenever you have to, and upload a copy of your new passport to IRCC, upload the copy of renewed passport to IRCC. And yeah, when you get your passport request, send both your passports, the old and the new, together for passport stamping, and that's it. There is no problem at all. Okay. How I fill application in Nova Scotia? Well, head over to the Nova Scotia website, check the criteria, check which stream you are eligible in, and if that allows you to create an expression of interest, or if that allows you to complete an application form on Nova Scotia, go ahead and do it. I mean, you see, the provincial websites are very, very clear. They are not confusing at all. They are not complicated. So if you have a doubt, if you are looking to get more queries about, or rather getting more answers about a specific province, always head to the province's website. You will find all the information you're looking for. I didn't attach my bachelor's when I applied for student visa because I didn't get bachelor's result at that time. Can I apply my bachelor's while applying for PR? Well, of course you can. If you had not received your bachelor's degree when you were applying for student visa, and now that you have it, yeah, most definitely, absolutely, you can, show it in your, you have to show it in your current PR application. Will it have any negative impact if I request for GCMS notes even after my study permit is approved? Well, you can most definitely apply for ATIP notes, or GCMS notes as you would call it, for any application type at any point of time, whether it's refused, whether it's accepted, whether it's in pending status. You can do that. There is no problem at all. Study visa approval rate, as per the new report, refusal rate is 60%. When it will decrease? Reason, sir. Well, it will decrease when people will start preparing proper applications or good applications, or will be able to offer reasons where the visa officer can approve them, right? So what has happened is, over a period of time, the reason you're seeing very high refusal rate is that the number of applicants has gone up. So earlier, study was not always the favored route for immigrating to Canada. All right, until 2 years, 3 years back, people could simply create an express entry profile. And even if you have completed a bachelor's degree, you have 3 years of work experience with CLB 9, you could very well get an invitation, right? It was only after 2018 and towards 2019 did it start becoming more and more difficult, because if you are slightly older in age, you would find it more difficult to get an ITA in express entry. Therefore, amongst other options, one of the most favored option then became coming to Canada as a student, studying in Canada, getting the Canadian work experience, and therefore then applying for your permanent resident, which is quite successful rather. And with this, what has happened is that the number of people who are applying for study permit has gone up in large numbers. In a lot of cases, they are mature students who have a very big gap. They are students whose past academic record was average or poor. There are students who are choosing wrong programs just because they think they want to choose that program. They feel that, if I'm studying, may as well study that. They do not link the program to their past studies or work experience. They make a poor application. They do not prepare a good SOP. Their IELTS their language proficiency scores are not up to the mark. Their finances are not up to the mark, or they're not able to prove how they will be funding their education. And combination of all these things, or lack of being able to provide sufficient ties to home country, all of this and in combination has resulted in the fact that you have a very, very high refusal rate. More and more people are being refused because of one or several of these factors. In addition to that, we also have Chinook, and now very quickly turning into Vespa, which are the names of the Excel-based artificial intelligence tools that are being used in most of the visa offices now across the world. It was initially only New Delhi visa office and China visa offices, but now it is being used in more and more visa offices. These are basically a way for a visa officer to assess the applications in batches instead of single. So to give you a small perspective, a typical study permit application that I have filed for my clients, or that my company files for our clients, the number of documents or the number of pages in application could go anywhere between 50, 60 to 100 pages in some cases, right? Because you will have documents for your finances, for your funds, your past education, past work experience, ties to home countries, your SOPs, your explanations, and several other documents that would go in an application, right? A visa officer, the amount of time that they have been assigned to for an application is anywhere between 8 to 11 minutes. I doubt they even spend 8 to 11 minutes, but that is the time that has been given to them per application. Now, can you imagine if one visa officer is going to do only 6 applications or 5 applications in 1 hour, which basically means how many applications can he do in one day? If we say 7 hours is the time that they would sort of spend doing the applications, given that 1 hour they would do other things that they might need to. Actually, I would not even say 7, I would say about 6. So if that person can finish only 5 applications in 1 hour, in 6 hours, they would finish only 30 applications. Do you know how many applications are being submitted? In hundreds and thousands every year. So if one person can process only 30 applications every single day, how many visa officers would you need to clear out all these international student applications? And we are talking about only one country, which is one country, which is India. So in India itself alone, there are more than 100,000 applications that go through with the study permit application. So can you imagine the calculation of how many visa officers would be needed if you calculate that kind of a processing time? So they go for a batch processing, whereby they use this Excel-based tool to do a batch processing of several applications at the same time. So the artificial intelligence is picking up factors or information from your application and putting your names and your factors and your information on an Excel sheet. And that visa officer has information which are basically picked out. It's called data mining. They will pick out, or they will scrape data from your application and paste it for them in specific fields that the visa officer is interested in checking for those applications. It will also flag applications based on the fact of whichever the visa officer has listed as the flag areas. And based on this, the visa officer does not have the time to go through every single document. They do not. If you make a 4-page, 5-page, 8-page, 10-page SOPs, that a lot of you do that, They don't have the time to read through the whole SOP or read through all the every single document that you're providing. No, they don't have the time. They are not going to do that. So the idea is to present your application in a manner which is basically giving them a snapshot and a summary, helping the artificial intelligence picking up that information which is so critical for them to be assessing your application. Therefore, what happens is at any given point of time in the Excel sheet, they can see 30, 40, 50 applications at the same time, and they're very quickly going through them and identifying which ones are fine, which ones are not fine, which ones are fine, which ones are not fine. They're clicking some options in their Excel sheet, identifying the reason for refusal, and bang, the application is refused, and off they go. Therefore, the reason is nearly 60%, as you can see it. In most cases, if you apply for Gcms notes and you see that the reasons are generic, then you should be able to ask for reconsideration by giving them more explanation. You should be able to reapply if you think the reasons that are something which you can address. And if you really think that the reasons were not justified, you can take that application to the federal court through a lawyer and file for a judicial review appeal. So all these options are available. Not everybody uses them, and they simply just resign to the fact that if they've got a refusal, it's a refusal. They don't really go into the details of why it was done and what the recourse is. But to answer your question, that is why it is what it is. Whew, okay. Any idea when IRCC is planning to finish applications for TR to PR essential workers? My brother has applied under essential non-healthcare under since 6th May, still waiting for AOR. Well, I did talk about this a little while back. TR to PR applications will be processed, are being processed. Their target, their prospective completion date for all TR to PRs is until December 2022. So if you do not hear back from them anytime soon, do not be worried. It will come through. In the meantime, the option to apply for Bridge Open Work Permit is available to your brother. I think, yeah, your brother. And yeah, so you don't have to worry about it at all. For the at this point of time, the biggest chunk that was being cleared were the international graduate streams. Very few applications of the the non-healthcare essential worker stream has been looked at or is being cleared. So I guess once they clear off the international student stream, they would then come to the non-essential worker, non-healthcare stream, and you would start seeing more and more people getting through. But there is nothing to worry about. They only intended to clear about 35,000 to 40,000 applications this year. That is where they are at this point of time. So absolutely nothing to worry about there. Though approach for 2022, IRCC will follow yet to come in public domain statements like to clear half backlog before FSW resume, suggesting FSW will not start in Jan 2022, right? Well, we did talk about this in detail, so I guess that should have answered your question. Okay, some repeat questions. We're going to go with this one. Biometric request, December 24th, 2020, 1 year. All right. The whole family got COVID, wasn't able to get an appointment. Well, I hope you're feeling better now. The complete lockdown from December 31st due to surge in cases, waited another 5 months. I am not sure what the question there is, but I hope you guys are feeling better. How to apply for a PNP program? Well, each province has a different immigration program. They have different streams under the immigration program. As I said earlier to you, you should check the individual specific PNP website, check what the demand list is, check what the criteria is, check what the requirement is, see where you're eligible, and based on that, go ahead and apply. Joel says, 2021 AOR, in the latest GCMS notes, I received a file has been transferred last month to London to the regional medical office. Is a positive sign? Well, with that little information, I don't know. I have absolutely no clue what your application is all about, what has gone in there, what has not gone in there, I'm sorry, but with this little information, I can't tell you. But for me, I've always realized, or I've always felt that any movement is positive because there is movement. Movement means there is progression. There is something happening with your application. So at any point of time when something happens, a movement is a definite positive sign. We've done this. What is your opinion on the New Brunswick International Graduate Pilot Program starting 1st April? Is it a good option to opt for if I plan to study in Canada? Yes, I think it's a great program. But again, you have to factor in different things. For this particular program stream, you may not be eligible for a postgraduate work permit, and therefore this is the option being given. So make sure you have got all your facts checked out before you apply for it. And if you still think this makes more sense versus because what I personally feel is that yes, this program makes sense for people who are going to study in those 4 colleges, which is good. Because those 4 colleges are not eligible for postgraduate work permit, you probably will see the list of those 4 colleges increasing as we go further. And but for me, I personally like to see going to a province or a college which would give me dual option. Dual option means I go to that college and I have some PNP option. So that province has some PNP programs which is specific to the international students or people who are working. In addition to that, the fact that I should be eligible with for a postgraduate work permit will allow me to obviously be eligible under the CEC class in express entry, because Canada has also announced under the new mandate letter that they will be expanding the pathways and giving more options for the international students and workers within the express entry itself. So for me, I would like to keep my options open. I would like to go with a multi-pronged approach. I do not want to get stuck with one, because God forbid something gets stuck over here, or they put a quota limit, or they put a target limit, and I wouldn't want to get in a situation where I am stuck because I chose one specific stream. And now, because this is immigration, anything can happen on any particular day. Today we are talking about this, tomorrow something might change. It might be completely different, and you do not want to get caught in something of that sort. So my opinion, but please do your research, please check your facts, please check all the data, please check all the details, and then opt for what you wish to. Okay, lots of repeat questions. Okay, I still can't see. Okay, yeah, all right. I want to apply for grad certificate in HRM. I have 37% in undergraduate in arts and 55% in MBA. Is there any possibility of study visa refusal due to poor academics with these percentages? Well, there is a very high possibility for the application to be refused because of very poor and average academic past record, because this puts your credibility as a bona fide, genuine student who is seriously looking to come to Canada to study on a big, it puts a big question mark to that. So unless you are able to explain this situation of your poor, because it's not only in undergraduate, you also continued with an average score in your master's. So that doesn't put you in a very positive footing. But I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's going to be difficult. You will just need to sort of figure out a way of providing additional explanation, additional strong reasons to show why you want to come to Canada, and what would be the reasons why you would return back, and also explain why you have such a poor academic record and why should you still be considered as a genuine and a bona fide student. Okay, family PR, past medical, waiting for PPR, but I haven't received biometric request. Is it possible that they've already collected my biometric data from my previous Germany visit visa? No, Germany visit visa has got nothing to do with Canadian immigration systems. For all Canadian immigration visas, you will need to provide a biometrics. If you haven't been asked, at some point of time, you will definitely be asked for it. I have finally got my PR portal confirmation on 22nd of December. Congratulations, Santa came early. When I can expect my passport request for IRCC for my 3 dependents? It should happen quickly, within a couple of weeks at most. If not, you can always write back and follow up. But this is good news. Congratulations. Okay, same question. Can you hazard a guess how long does it take for IRCC to trigger COPR after passing a medical a second time? Well, earlier what we were seeing is they were taking between 3 to 5 months. Recently, in the recent re-medical requests that have been coming, it's different. If they have asked you for re-medicals, they sent you a form 1017 and you use that form 1017 to then complete your medicals, we have seen passport requests coming faster within the month. If you have received a medical request, but you have done upfront medicals, and now you are going to apply, you're going to upload the medicals again because they have not updated them, that has taken a bit longer. But again, once they have updated the medicals, from there on, it's happening within the month. People who were getting re-medical requests earlier, I think a few months back, they were taking significantly longer, between 3 to 5 months. But most recently, if you have a re-medical request, then but if it is a medical which has just been passed for the second time and you do not have a medical request, so that necessarily may not indicate the application being finalized anytime soon. But if you have received a medical request, then you can expect something happening pretty quickly. I hope that answers for you. I have a COPR, outland spouse as PPR. Is it enough to prove that spouse has approved Canadian visa? We need to show it to university before 3rd of December. Well, your COPR definitely proves that you are a permanent resident. Your spouse having a passport request does not necessarily make your spouse a permanent resident. So it will be entirely onto the university. But you needed to show this before December 3rd. We are already on the 25th of December. So I'm not sure how that would play out. But yeah, check with the university. It will depend upon them whether they will accept it or not. CRS 462, knock 1111. When can we expect FSW draws opening? Basis the score. Please guide me with the best suggestion to immigrate to Canada. Which PNP have high demand for this knock? Okay, I can't tell you at this point of time which knock, which PNP, etc. You will need to go and check individual provinces, check their PNP requirements, check their immigration streams, check their in-demand jobs, employment, NOC codes, see where you are eligible, and then go ahead and apply. 462, in my opinion, at this point of time, specifically at this point of time, I don't give it any chance in express entry, at least for the foreseeable future, because 1 year the draws did not happen. The scores haven't dropped below 468 for almost 2 years now. So 462 is extremely unlikely anytime in the near future. So you should definitely be looking at PNP options or to improve your CRS score. Nearly got 10 ghost updates since biometrics. Medical expired 16th of October, got extended. Visa approved 21st of October, got COPR 10th November. Congratulations. Excellent. Okay. CRS 492, federal skilled when? Please tell, sir. Well, we did discuss about the draws, etc. So if you did not watch, I would suggest you please watch the video from a bit, from a bit earlier, and you would be able to get an answer to that. Okay, some same questions coming up. Dinesh says, yeah, again, PNP applicant outside Canada, biometrics done, medicals expired, security not started, test is done. Now that Canada achieved target of 21, will people like me get PPR in 2022? Well, I'm definitely expecting yes. Again, we have discussed this at length a bit earlier today. So I would request you to please check that again and you will be able to get your answers. Okay, thank you for the answer. Merry Christmas. I think same question again. All right, for some reason, we are getting a repeat of the question. So my question is regarding PNP express entry candidates differ from FSW express entry candidate. What is the current timeline for a PNP express entry candidate as PNP nominations are valid for 6 months? Well, once you have received a nomination and you have submitted your PR application, the validity of the nomination no longer is relevant. The period of nomination is for you to submit your PR application. So you need to submit your PR application while your nomination is valid. So that is the first thing. Now, as far as the application being different, no. A PNP application also is either a federal skilled worker or a CEC or a FSTC, which is FSTC, which is federal skilled trade category. In express entry, there are only 3 streams: CEC, FSW, FSTC. PNP is not a stream. Okay, they have been able to identify people who have received a nomination and have invited them or send them invitations. That does not make it a separate stream by itself. All right, so you have to understand that. So when you submit your application as a PNP nominee, you will still be assessed for eligibility as a federal skilled worker or as a Canadian experience class or as a federal skilled trade category. These, you will have to be eligible under any of these 3 classes in order for your express entry application to be processed and to be approved. So that's the answer to your question. As far as the difference is concerned, no, there is no difference in terms of the assessment and the processing. At this point of time, only because there was only PNP applications, you haven't seen any federal skilled worker happening for the last 1 year. So obviously, there are none of them being processed. PNPs, because they have an agreement, federal has the agreement with the provinces, so they do have to conduct these draws more regularly than otherwise. Okay, again, all right, yeah. What about spouse open work permit? Well, spouse open work permit, again, part of TRV backlog, which is almost now 800,000 people being affected. The expectation is that along with all the backlogs being cleared, hopefully at some point of time, Spouse open work permits also should start getting cleared. Again, this is about reassignment of the visa officers so that they can go back to handling the application types that they were still looking at, and they should clear those applications. I expect definitely that once they get back to their reassign or their original positions, you should start seeing movement of your TRV applications getting processed. I understand spouse open work permits have been in the backlog for more than a year now, not even a year, for more than a year, and it's pathetic, it's disgusting, it's ridiculous, but unfortunately, that is how they have been played out. And except for waiting, there is nothing else that we can do at this point of time. Okay, done this. Monty, when should I apply for September 2020 intake? You should apply at least 6 months in advance if you already have your acceptance letter. How many salary slips should I attach? You should attach for at least 6 months of your last work experience. Have been working in the company for the last 5 years. If you're working in the company for the last 5 years, I would attach at least 12 for the first few months, for the middle and random, and then the last few months. So that way I'm giving them a whole snapshot of the last 5 years. Of course, I would also attach income tax returns for at least 2 years to sort of validate the fact that you have been working. Merry Christmas. Will PNP processing get priority like CEC? After CEC are done, how much time after biometrics? AOR October 12th, 2021, no biometric instruction. At this point of time, the biometric instruction letters are taking nearly 3 months from the timeline that I've been looking at. No, I do not expect PNPs to get the same amount, same priority that CECs were getting. I think PNPs and the federal skilled worker, or rather the all program people who've been waiting, they would get the same kind of priority going forward, and they would be processed the same. I mean, PNP applications were being processed anyways. It is the federal skilled worker people who are outside whose applications are not being processed. So I do not anticipate any segregated priority for PNP applicants. I expect them to be processed together. At this point of time, I also see that, or rather I've been seeing that a lot of old applications are being processed and a lot of newer applications are being processed. So it's not like the newer applications, people who have submitted their applications in 2021 have been put behind the whole queue and they're at the back end of the queue. No, what they instead started doing is that they're looking at processing the old applications and at the same time continuing to process the newer applications with the same processing times, trying to sort of keep up to the speed and come back to the speed. So you might see this variance. You might see people who have recently applied, where I'm saying 2021, late 2020 getting approved, and people in 2018 and 2019 applications are getting approved. So you will see that variance happening, but that is some brainy idea of wanting to maintain the speed of newer applications as per the average expected processing times, while also trying to clear the old ones. So yeah, that is the way they have been looking to go. Okay. Merry Christmas, Vivek. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. Apurva, what should be the approximate timeline to get PR once biometric is completed? There is no credible timeline to sort of say that this is how much time it will take after biometrics. No, nothing of that sort. At this point of time, there is nothing to talk about. Okay, got ITA with Nova Scotia, 23rd of October 21. Have got an offer letter from University of Calgary for masters. Can I go and study in Alberta after landing if I land before September? Well, you can land, but I would not recommend. If you are a nominee from Nova Scotia and you have not shown any intent of wanting to live in Nova Scotia, it could turn out to be a bit of a quandary. I would not recommend that. It's entirely your choice. I would suggest you find probably a college program within Nova Scotia. If not, you can still go and study in University of Calgary, as long as you complete your studies and then come back and start living in Nova Scotia, which is absolutely fine. But the idea should be that you maintain your obligation of residing in the province. At least give it a shot. I have applied for a post-secondary course, received a pre-admit letter since I am a degree holder and completed my 12th about 10 years, how likely is my visa to get rejected? Well, the visa will get rejected if you are not able to justify the reasons why you wish to come to Canada to study, why you're not able to, if you're not able to justify that your choice of program is in line with the progression that would be ideal for your career or for your occupation, if you're not able to provide suitable funds that will back your studies and how you will fund your studies and your living expenses, if you're not able to provide suitable ties to your home country, the combination of all of this, if you're not able to justify, if you're not able to provide, then yeah, you could expect an application to be refused. Gave money to the immigration consultants in Canada and lost money twice. At last, prayed to God and submitted a file without anyone's help. And now we are permanent resident of Canada. That's a good thing to do. That's a great thing to do. You know, it's not about giving money to immigration consultants in Canada. It's about you taking ownership of your application. And part of that is also to identify the right kind of representative for your application. There, at this point of time, there are 10,000 immigration consultants who are licensed. There are some few thousand immigration lawyers who practice immigration law. And in addition to that, there are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are illegal, unlicensed, claim to be licensed, but have got absolutely nothing to do with licensing of as an immigration consultant. And all of this will also plunder and ply their services on the internet and everywhere. And you as a client, you as a person who needs to take ownership of your application, if you haven't done your research well, and finding the right person who should handle your application is part of that, then obviously things may not sometimes work in your favor. But what you have done is great. You have submitted the application yourself, which is excellent. I wish you all the very best. And yeah, welcome to Canada. Sunil says we didn't receive any updates after medical passed in March 2021. Yesterday, we talked with Ircc agent, said our Copr is expiring in March 2022. How? Any idea? Well, no, I have no idea. I do not know anything about your application. Order for Gcms notes to understand what's happening. And as and when the applications are being finalized, you probably will get your passport request as well. Sandy says from India, work permit AOR 21 June, also applied for PNP express entry application September 21. Which one should I expect first? I can't tell you, to be very honest. Work permit applications are taking more than 1 year. PNP express entry applications are taking about 14 months on an average. Again, depends on so many other factors. So yeah, you could be lucky with either of them. I'm unable to find an appropriate knock code for my profession. Went through all relevant knock codes, but couldn't find a closest match. What do you suggest you do here? Well, you will have to find a closest match. There will always be an occupation code which would indicate the kind of a job that you do. You will then need to draft your responsibilities and jobs in such a manner which comes out to be a better match. Obviously, your employer has to provide you with the documentation, but you will always be able to find something which would be indicative of the job that you do. You probably just need to sort of work on it a bit better. If it's clinical data management, look at statistics. The knock code to do with statistics, look at knock code to do with the data management, look at knock code to do with the laboratory assistants, look at knock codes which talk about people who deal with the clinical statistics. Somewhere there you will find the knock. Sometimes we try to look for a knock based on the job title. We are very... So we maybe narrow down our search in the knock codes, but you need to sort of broaden that and look within other groups as well to see if possibly you match something there. If an FSW draw happens, will it impact the current OINP draw score, which is 457 to 467? Absolutely, yes, of course it will. Ontario always pegs its upper cutoff range with the last all program draw. So if a new federal skilled worker draw will happen, 100% Ontario will peg its upper cutoff range to 1 point less than the new all program draw. And then the lower cutoff will obviously then also be very, very close to the upper cutoff. And yeah, 457 is not going to cut it if something like that happens. Everyone be calm, have faith, pray to God, doors will open in front of you. Thank you, Kubeir sir, for all the positive and genuine updates. Good luck and may God bless you all. Thank you. Wish you all the best. Okay, can I apply for TRV for visiting my brother over while waiting in the express entry pool for ITA? If TRV gets rejected, will it have any negative impact on my file? Can I apply for TRV for visiting my brother over there? Yes, you can apply for TRV. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. As long as you get approved, you're fine. Even if you get refused, it will have absolutely no impact on your permanent resident application. No problem with that at all. Naina, thank you for the super chat, but we did answer that question even without the super chat. If I show my bachelor's while applying for PR, is it going to be misrepresentation? Why would it be misrepresentation? I got my bachelor result before applying student visa, but I didn't get bachelor's degree. I got it after applying student visa. Well, it all depends. What did you declare? What did you disclose in your study visa application? If you did not have a degree, if you were not conferred with a degree and you said that you are not conferred with a degree, it's fine. But if you already were a bachelor's, you already had your provisional, because a lot of times the actual degree is issued after probably 1 year of you having completed your bachelor's degree. You may have a provisional bachelor's degree with you. So in that situation, yes, you misrepresented by not disclosing and declaring that you indeed had a bachelor's degree, even if you had a provisional degree. So yeah, you need to figure that one out. Okay, similar questions, same questions. Do they ask for IT certification and tech draw for Ontario? Will it impact later for citizenship application if one does not work or get a job in IT sector after landing? When does the age get locked? Okay, several questions there. There is no requirement for IT certification in Ontario's tech draw. Once you come to Canada, even if you come under a specific stream, you are free to work in any occupation. There is no problem, absolutely no restriction in any manner. And the age is locked when you receive your ITA. After receiving ITA from Ircc, if there is a change in your age, it will not impact your application decision because of loss of points. Okay. Okay, same questions. Can I reapply in Feb, refuse due to 5.5 in one without improved IELTS? Again, I am not sure why. I'm not sure which program are we talking about. So yeah, sorry about that. Why are you calling it FSW O draw? Isn't it all program draw? Well, if I did say FSW O draw, my apologies. I did not mean it that way. I obviously meant it all program draw because I don't anticipate Ircc conducting a separate federal skilled worker only kind of a draw. I don't see that happening at all. So it's going to be a PNP specific, which has been happening. It could be a CEC specific, which has been happening, or it would be an all program draw. I don't anticipate Ircc conducting only a federal skilled worker only draw. So if I said that, then I apologize. I didn't mean it. I basically meant all program draws. How beneficial, helpful to approach through an Ircc consultant? As Ircc website say, it is more detailed. Please share your experience. I have no idea what we are referring to here. I'm not sure what exactly are you referring to. I do not see any other questions from you before this. So yeah, I have no idea what you're referring to. I mean, you will approach ICCRC. That's what you're referring to, which is now CICC, College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants. And these are the licensed authorized representatives in addition to the lawyers who can handle your application to Ircc. And you would use a consultant if you think you cannot handle your application yourself, if you need a bit more professional guidance, detailed guidance. So yeah, but I'm not sure what your question in that case was. Okay, Monty Singh, when should I apply for? Okay, we did this already. Kanika says, possibility to get temporary residence if I apply after receiving pre-arrival. I want to reunite with my husband. It's being our first anniversary. Shall it be considered? Does have any strong ties to show? Don't have any strong ties to show like property. Well, whenever you apply for a temporary residence visa, and especially if you have already applied for a permanent residence application, you would also need to express dual intent, whereby your application is still going to be processed for temporary residence while understanding that you also have intention to apply for permanent residence. If you do not have strong ties to your home country, it's always going to put your application on a weak foot. So yeah, do your best. But if you wish to apply, you absolutely can apply. There is no harm in it. There is no problem in it. And it certainly won't affect your application in a negative manner. My visit visa was refused. Now I want to go for spouse open work permit as my wife is currently studying in BC province. Should I apply GCMS notes? Always apply for GCMS notes so you can understand what is the issue. which you will then be able to address while submitting your next or new application. Harpreet Singh, thank you, but there is no question there. Saini says, my wife got refusal for study visa, tried postgraduate diploma in business management in Nova Scotia after MBA finance from India with 5 years experience. Is there any chance for MBA? Well, again, I mean, yes, of course, there is a chance for MBA. Again, why, if you already have, you're saying you already have an MBA, though, then why do you want to study another MBA? I mean, it doesn't make sense. You should probably try and figure out a better program, order for your GCMS notes, understand why your previous application was refused, and then address those concerns before you go ahead and apply for a new application. All right, a lot of repeat of the questions. Harpreet Singh, non-accompanying spouse, eligibility pass, medical expired. Can we plan baby here? Will there be any issue with PR file or re-medical? Well, no, there would be no problem. By all means, go ahead and plan your family. I wish you all the very best. There would be no issues. If your baby is born before you become permanent residents, then you will be able to add your child to your application. Just inform Ircc by updating them through the web form. All right. Just wanted to say thank you and Merry Christmas. You are doing a wonderful job. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching and being an audience today. Well, yeah, same questions a lot. Your videos have been informative. Thank you. Thank you for watching. What are the chances for Super Visa success? Well, the chances are pretty good as long as you are able to become, or rather, as long as you are eligible under the financial factors as a sponsor, and as long as you are able to provide at least some ties which will indicate that, because at the end of the day, it is still a temporary residence visa. It's still a visit visa. Just allows a longer duration of stay or other residence in the first time. But yeah, the chances for Super Visa is always higher in comparison to a regular visit visa. But at the end of the day, you still need to prove to the visa officer that this person does have reasons to return back to their home country and will not continue to stay in Canada beyond the period of their valid period of stay. If you are not following us on Instagram, then please do. On Instagram, tomorrow, we will do a Sunday morning live. Tomorrow is a Boxing Day. We'll be doing a Sunday morning live where we talk about non-immigration stuff. So we talk about the weather, we talk about life in general, we talk about career, we talk about things that can make you successful, things which you should avoid. Basically, things from my experience about life in Canada. So please join us on Instagram if you haven't yet subscribed there or followed us there. Drop us an email if you wish to, if you are looking for any professional services. We are also on TikTok. You're most welcome to join us there. And yeah, absolutely, definitely, please do subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button so this video gets on to more and more people out there, so that more people can see this. And thank you very much. Thank you for joining in. I wish you all the very best. It has been a great year. I mean, I will always remain forever hopeful. I will always remain forever thankful. And that's the only way I know how to go about. So my as they say, attitude of gratitude and my sincere gratitude towards all of you who is watching, because even on a Saturday, you are taking the time to listen to what I have to say. So if you value whatever I have to say, so I have to thank you for that. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for being my audience. Thank you for following this channel. Thank you for following us on the social media platforms. You're being great. This is what keeps me coming back. This is what makes me work hard and making sure I give you true information, genuine information, credible information. And that's the only way to go about it. Thank you so much. I wish you a Merry Christmas if you're celebrating. I wish you a very Happy New Year, which is just around the corner. And I shall see you in the next year on the 1st of January in our Saturday morning live. Take care. All the best. Stay safe.